everybody had a chance to read over the minutes from last meeting? If so, I'll take a motion. We have a motion, Commissioner Richards, second, Commissioner Arthur. Any other discussion? All in favor, all opposed? Carries 5-0. Additions, deletions, presentations, announcements. Mr. Romero?
Mr. Chairman, under G1, of course, we have the professional surveying and mapping consultants. There will be 4 presentations.
Okay, and how long do they each have?
They have about an hour each.
Okay.
No. 8 to 10 minutes each.
All right, 8 minutes each, then 10, all right. Very good. All right. No presentations, is there anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Moving along, consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull? Hey, Richard?
Yes, sir. I'd like to pull items E6, the contract report, E7, marketing and business development, and E13, the MOU.
All right, very good.
You want E10 MOU, is that the one?
E13, isn't it?
No, it's E10.
Okay, I'm
F.
sorry. 10. Yes, the MOU.
So you want, not 13, but you want 10. Right?
Correct.
All right, E6.
Actually, very short. We've discussed this before. There are several items with the same vendor. I just wanted to ask Mr. Walensky, may I assume that you periodically review these and you decide whether or not it's advantageous to combine them into a single contract or whether it's advantageous to do them in separate contracts?
Absolutely, we do. We take a look at them, and in this particular case, we've taken a look at it. The contract that's up now is for pest control that already is consolidated around the port, and that's working out fine. The remaining ones are for termites, which are based upon a initial application and then a 1-year term after that that's secured by a state bond. They could not be put together. So I'm comfortable with the way it is, and we can talk about possibly putting the pest control out for bid. With the termite, if we put it out to bid, there'd be a significant cost up front as a new company did their initial application, which wouldn't be necessary.
As long as you periodically look at it and make that decision, Mr. Chairman, I'll move adoption.
We'll just take them off all 6, yeah.
Okay, and
7?
on E7, no hurry, but before our next budget cycle, I'd like staff to look at all of our organizations we're involved with and make a determination as to whether it's that beneficial to the port. And maybe they could also provide the commissioners with a very brief synopsis of what the benefit is, because a few of them, I don't know what the benefit is to the port and have no clue. And that's the only question I had on that.
Okay, I'm looking at that now.
Which one specifically?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Sure.
which other, yeah, I don't know which one.
Well, I mean, I think we should look at all of them, but do you?
This one in particular, if I may, Mr. Chairman. The International Business Council, we did some further research, and what it is, that particular organization seems to be a subset of the Florida Chambers or something to that effect. But be that as it may, we hear what the commissioner would like, and we can provide each of you with the benefits of these organizations.
And there are a couple of, I mean, the Navy League, the World Trade Center, the WTS. We just need to, you know, make sure we're doing the right thing.
Gene?
With the Navy, before because we used to have the sailors to come here every 4th of July and they assist us in other events. That's why we continue to support them, because they've been like partners with us for years.
I understand, but I'd still like to see an analysis of what the benefit is, because
Okay.
you know, I mean, just because we've been doing it doesn't mean we need to continue to do it indefinitely. But I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the last one?
And the last one, E10, the MOU, Because this is an MOU with a foreign government, I think we should move it to the regular agenda and staff should give a brief presentation on it. You know, I think this is something the public would be really interested in, and sometimes things that are on consent are buried.
Okay, well, this is E10F you're talking about?
Yes.
All right, so we'll just.
E10F.
Yeah, we'll take that up and after the district reports, we can do that, I guess.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I ask a question? Mr. Mayor, with MOU, the concept, does it relate to the visit from the delegation from Cuba? All of those are combined together as one?
Yes.
Okay, so it is important that we are involved in that because of the delegation, because our relationship that we're trying to build with the Cuban government, and also the ports in Cuba?
Well, this will be with the National Association of Ports throughout Cuba. So what we're hoping to do is by signing this MOU, it's basically a commercial friendship between ourselves and that entire organization. That includes about 34 different ports in Cuba. However, Cuba today is focusing in on Mariel. That's the newest port, Mariel, for cargo activity. And that is what these 7 ministers are here to promote that service and have a one-on-one signature with them so that we can have this, again, this commercial relationship. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, okay, and I guess the other question is, since Commissioner Goffer just mentioned the ones here, I guess if we were going to take a look at those, we need to take a look at all of them, be fair to all of the organizations that we do business with.
Say that again?
My concern is because he mentioned the ones that were listed here. There are many others that are not listed here, and I think if we want to dissect and look at these, then we need to go back and look at all of the organizations that we do business with.
Okay.
Just not the ones here, because it would not be fair and equal.
Well, any commissioner can just go in to see Gerard or Manny and go through what we do, and if there's some that stick out to you that you don't think,
Okay,
you know, I mean,
you don't even have to do it.
right, I mean, most of it's marketing and public relations, so.
And promotion.
Yeah, and promotion, all right, we don't do a whole lot, but we do some, and it's good for the community, so, you know, any commission can go in and go through the list, and if there's any that kind of stick out, then, we'll just change it. How many MOUs do we have approximately?
About 14.
Yeah, so we've already got 14 MOUs, so, like I say, it's a good thing. All right, anybody else on the consent? If not, we'll approve the consent minus E10F, which will take up, we can take it up right after we approve this consent.
So moved.
Yeah, motion, Commissioner Richards, second, Commissioner MacArthur. Any other discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 5-0. All right, so now before the district report, we'll go to E10F. So on the MOU, just a brief description, and like I said, since we already have 13 or 14 other reports.
We've done this before.
Exactly.
Commissioners, first of all, let me give you in chronological order what has happened. Back in April, the Cuban embassy had contacted me, letting me know that they will be pending a potential visit of about some Cuban ministers to the United States, and they had selected the Port of Palm Beach. Going back even further, if you recall, about 6 years ago, I started this pilgrimage of going to Washington, D.C. and visiting the Cuban embassy. I've also started with asking OFAC for a license to travel to Cuba, and it took a couple of years, and yes to this year, and no to the next year, and so on and so forth. So anyway, this has culminated into the following. On February 2nd and 3rd, the AAPA will have a seminar in Tampa that is called Shift in Trade Lanes. The Cuban embassy, along with the AAPA up in Washington, felt that this is a very advantageous seminar for all Cubans and everyone else that would like to participate. So prior to the AAPA seminar, this group of 7 ministers will be visiting the United States. In fact, they arrived this weekend. They first go to Houston, Texas. Then they will be in South Florida. And you probably, later on today, later on in the program, I will be providing you with the actual agenda. We get them, that's an appropriate term, we get them on Thursday night, and we have them all day Friday and half a day Saturday. Even though Saturday's program is basically a breakfast with them, and then we will take them to the airport. So why are we having this MOU? It's mutually agreed upon. In other words, with the Cuban government, particularly the ports, and as Commissioner Waldron went and visited Mariel, they need help, and I'm sure that we can provide them with some assistance with regards to promotional activities here at the port. But more importantly, what I'm looking at is Cuba, particularly Mariel, has the propensity or has the potential of becoming a transshipment hub in the Caribbean. Being that is a potential, I think it behooves the Port of Palm Beach, for many reasons, to be in the forefront with this national association. Not only when we were to visit Cuba, but also when they are visiting the United States. Why? So we can exchange commercial information. We can actually do some commercial activities together. They may come across a European line, for example, that would like to establish a service between the United States and Cuba. Well, why not have our names in the forefront so they can associate the name with the face? This is a project that I have worked on, I'm happy to say, for about 6 years. I know the Commissioner Richards and former Commissioner Opel have assisted me. When Commissioner MacArthur had a different responsibility, he assisted me in writing the OFAC permission letter. That's mentioned this year was yes. The same format next year was no. Then it came back as a no, but then they changed it to yes. So essentially that's what we have. Now, here it is today, the 19th. It is 4:15 in the afternoon, and it's the MOU is still a work in progress. We submitted it about 72 hours ago, after our attorney from Ackerman had looked at it, since he specializes in OFAC in the Cuba trade. He made some necessary changes. We sent it back up to Washington. Today, at around 1:30 in the afternoon, I received an email from Ruben Ramos from the Cuban government, or the Cuban embassy, letting me know that Havana wanted an explanation as to why those changes have occurred in the MOU. So it is a work in progress. However, I'm happy to say that based on what Pedro Ferre, again the attorney from Ackerman, had written, and a 5-minute meeting that I had with Greg, best we can say at this point, it is a work in progress. It all depends on what Havana comes back to Ruben with. I don't anticipate a major change, because let's face it, they, like us, we would like to make sure that we are adhering to the law. OFAC being the law. So that's the best description I can give you. Again, later in my executive report, I'll give you in details what the agenda will look like.
Okay, thank you, Rand.
So what do you want us to do with it today? Do you want us to work in progress, so we won't be approving it today?
I would like you to give me the authority, the authorization to go ahead and approve.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, and one other thing is they're also stopping in Port Everglades and Port of Tampa.
Yes.
They're gonna be signing MOUs with those two ports, so we'd be foolish really not to,
Exactly. Houston first, Port Everglades, us, Tampa, and Port Mobile, Alabama, while visiting Tampa.
Right, oh, well, okay.
Now, there's 14 seaports throughout the state of Florida. We're one of 14, or actually there's 3 of us that will be signing it.
Good, all right, very good. All right, so now we need to approve E10F. Do we have a motion to approve E10F?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Mr. Waldron, Mr. Wiltshire, second, Commissioner Richards, any other discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 5-0. All right, so we're done with consent.
backup that says the Board of Commissioners is respectfully requested to approve the MOU with NPAC. We're not approving it, we're authorizing the executive director to approve it,
Right.
once it's finalized.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we just need to clarify that.
All right. District reports.
Well, I'm up, I might as well say it. Commissioners, the aforementioned Cuban delegation, if you look at your screens, and for the audience, if they can look at the screen, this is what we have planned so far. And by the way, this has been an awesome job by staff. And quite honestly, it's time, it's sensitive, but more importantly, it's taken us forever to try to align everything that you see there. By 7 p.m. Next Thursday, a week from today, they should be arriving at the Senior Island Marriott. By 7:30, of course, we will be having this welcoming reception. I hope that all 5 commissioners will be there. We have invited not only port commissioners, but senior port staff, as well as Mr. Richard Pinsky. Invited elected officials are the ones that you see there. I don't think that we have any yes from any of them yet. Any, maybe Ted Doyle. I think you might have said something.
Representative Hagar.
Representative Hager will be there. Good. So we're still monitoring this part of the process of trying to coordinate this. Next day, Friday, it starts at 10. At 8:30, there will be a breakfast hosted by the North Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce at the North Palm Beach Country Club. Invited are the Board of Directors and Executive Committee of that chamber, and the City of Riviera Beach will have an opportunity to make a presentation, the key of the city, to the Cuban delegation and their presentation from the city. That will soon follow to transporting back to the port. We will arrive at the Port of Palm Beach for a port tour around 10:30. 11:15, we will have that MOU signing here in the boardroom. Invited, of course, is port commissioners and staff, port tenants, and the media. Incidentally, the Cuban delegation made it very clear that they would like the media to be at that particular function, not at the others. At at noon, some of us will be heading to the Bahamas Celebration vessel for a lunch on board the ship. And here again, invited are the port commissioner, senior staff. Bahamas Celebration will probably be sending 2 representatives. Merchants Market, as well as South Florida Materials, are sponsors and have been invited. Then, commissioners, at 3 p.m., there will be a presentation by the Cuban delegation to Palm Beach in the county commission chambers. This is open to the public. No charge. It's just basically whatever the presentation is and those who would like to attend. We are using the PDB as well as Dennis Grady's mailing list. Those invitations have already gone out. Then at 5:30, the Tenant Association reception hosted by Stone Rock Shipping. It will be held at Cooper Blues at City Place. And then, of course, between 7:30 and 9, the transportation from City Place back to the hotel. Culminating, the ending will be Saturday, a breakfast review meeting at the hotel with port staff. And then 11 o'clock, we check out of the hotel and we transport them to the airport PBIA so they can go up to Washington, and then again, the following day, they'll be down to Tampa. Are there any questions on that? If not, I'd like to proceed.
One question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Manny.
Yes, sir.
So on Friday the 27th, it seems like you want the commissioners to pretty much be here all day, is that correct? All day?
It would be ideal, even though I recognize that some of you, that it's not going to be possible. If you are not going to be able to be here, but please be here for the signing ceremony. That would be on or about 10:30 to 10:45. And that's a 5-minute, 10-minute.
Sure, but it looks like it's pretty much a full day, all morning, all day, and all evening, if possible.
If possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, continue.
Thank you. All right, Commissioners, this past Tuesday, we had Captain Dean, the U.S. Coast Guard Captain of the Port, and her support staff, joined port staff attendants for a luncheon appreciation. Joining the port staff were Commissioner Gina Wright and Commissioner Waldron. We had about 20 to 25 tenants in all communicated their appreciation for Captain Dean's action with regards to the soon opening of the port right after Hurricane Matthew. Incidentally, Rick Morrell of Tropical Shipping presented her with a token of appreciation and reiterated how thankful Tropical, as well as all the other port tenants, are with her immediate action. Next, I'd like to talk to you about is the lights, and this is a subject that we have touched base with in the past. If you take a look at the picture in front of you, you'll see there's 4,900 feet to the shoreline. That is what we like to say between ourselves and the turtles. The next picture you'll see will be, some of you have seen it, to your left, it's the LED light. You can see the difference if you compare that to the one on the right, which is what we have currently. In another view, and we'll see in a minute, you'll see 4 bright lights, but if you see right in the middle, you barely see it, but it's noticeable that in the middle, that is the LED light. Now, what's important here is the spillage of brightness. What we want to accomplish is, let me get it on the mic. What we like to accomplish is exactly what you see there right in the middle, but here's the drawback. That to accomplish that throughout the port is approximately $20,000 per mast light times 26 in total that we have. We're looking at about $570,000. We will stagger if in fact this proves to be advantageous. According to the company that has allowed us to use their material right in the middle there, Masco, they claim it is a 4 to 5 year return on investment. Well, we'll see. We'll continue to evaluate. For some reason now, just about everybody in the stars is involved in this LED lighting, and we're feeling prices on a week out basis. So nothing more than just as FYI, this is what's going on at the port. And by the way, here again, spillage. Notice how that middle light just shines down and it doesn't splurge anywhere else. So that will be helpful not only for our friends the turtles, but obviously our nearby neighbors in and around the port.
Is there any chance of any money from security or anything from something like this, or is that a stretch?
We anticipated that question, and the answer is we will be looking at all possibilities, because that's quite expensive. It is security related.
Absolutely.
And with Ken's ability to write not a coffee pot, but what is it? A percolator?
Water filtration system.
Water filtration. In other words, his ingenuity may be able to get something. Maybe. What else we have? Oh yes, this is the before and after. And actually, before I even show you the after, I'd like to thank Florida Sugar for this enormous task. This is what it would look like about 6 months ago, thereabouts. Take a look at the new one.
Wow.
And notice that they also painted the walls. So Mike Sally, if you're not here, I don't know if you're here, Mike. Well, Mike Sally, thank you very much. Great job. By the way, they also put a somewhat of a canopy up on top. Is that what they did? Air vents. Some air vents. And again, it looks fantastic. And the volumes are up, so happy all the way. Mr. Baker, what else do we have there? Just FYI, we do have an RFP for berth 1. That went out about a week ago, and it has a March 31st expiration.
We have not received any official documents yet, but anticipate on having quite a lot of activity with that, including the current tenant that's there today, so we're anxiously awaiting. All right, and last, Commissioners, back in the.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
Are there any other RFPs on the street now?
Yes, we have the security RFP. When is that, what is the date?
February 10th, I believe.
February 10th, and that's it, I think, at this point. Yeah, so security as well as this RFP. No problem. Commissioners, back right before the year 2000, everyone was thinking, this, hang on to your hat, because this is going to be the best years of the shipping industry. Well, what they were trying to say was that as time progressed, the big boys will be eating up the smaller boys. And this is a perfect proof or perfect example. Maersk Lines is the largest throughout the world. This is the largest container company. Number 2 is Mediterranean Shipping. But not a distant seventh is Hamburg Süd. Hamburg Süd, of course, in German, that specializes in east, that is north-south trade lanes, has agreed to be purchased by Maersk. If that trend continues in 10 years, we may only have about 5 shipping companies. That's the trend. So good luck to them, and we won't even begin to know how much money will be spent, but the rumors is about $4 billion. Anything else? All right, Commissioners, on the event front, of course.
Manuel, you skipped 2 items on your list. The update on the grand celebration and the safety reaction to the shootings in Fort Lauderdale.
The safety reaction, Commissioners, for obvious reasons, I don't, we know what happened in Fort Lauderdale Airport about 2 weeks ago, and but if we can't, but I will tell you that based on what Ken Hearn and I have heard and what we have done here at the port, we basically we're in a heightened alert. Let's hope that travesty doesn't happen here, either PBI or even at our own terminal, for God's sakes. The other one that you mentioned was
The update on the grand celebration.
Okay, yeah, the grand celebration, with one minor exception, we have gone ahead and have everything signed, sealed, and delivered. The transfer did take place. There is one minor change, and that is, Commissioners, that we requested a $150,000 deposit, which the owner, Kevin Sheehan, said that someone else will be submitting the amount of money, which they have. Is that not the case? Please.
As part of the transaction, when we closed the transaction, we got the security deposit from the company itself. We're looking for a third-party deposit. So within by, I think it's April 30th, they're required to swap out the one we have with a personal guarantee, or not guarantee, I'm sorry, a $150,000 deposit from a third party who's named as Kevin Sheehan. So we will, if we have the money on hand, it will just be a different source by the end of April.
So essentially, and as of, what was the final date that the transfer that took place? Because right now they're working with new owners. In other words, the activity that goes on that ship, and has been going on that ship for at least a week and a half, belongs to the new owners.
There's different dates between when their transaction occurred and where ours actually occurred, but effectively from an operations billing standpoint, it's midday on December 20th was the transfer of ownership.
Okay, so let's just move on to events. As I mentioned before, January the 26th through the 28th, the Cuban delegation. On February 3rd and 4th, that's the AAPA Planning and Shifting Trades up in Tampa. Also on February the 14th and 15th, AAPA Cruise Seminar in San Diego, California. Followed by February the 20th and 24th, the Certified Part Executive Training Program in our boardroom. March 7th and 8th, the AAPA, of course, Legal Seminar in Oakland, California. What I want you to be aware of is that April 4th and 5th, this is the AAPA Spring Conference up in Washington, D.C. Not sure why we have that April 6th, but Back up a bit, on March 29th and 30th, I will be in Tallahassee attending the Florida Ports Council FESTA meeting for the spring. Commissioners, that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you. Engineering report. Mr. Mock.
Dave Mock, interim port engineer. I'm here to talk about verse 17. Verse 17, as you know, has been moving fairly slowly. The project, which in the picture, it's at the very top of the page up by the waterfront. It includes all the utility work all the way down in the sandy area you see in the picture. But that project's moving slowly. Only about 20% of the funds have been expended to date on that project. It's been underway since before I came here, and it's moving slowly. The biggest obstacle they have right now is that the sheet pile that they have to pull in order to turn the new wall into the site to create the slip won't come out. And they've created these steel sheet pile coffer dams, you see in the picture, to allow them to excavate on the landward side of the wall down to below the tips of the sheet so they can rip them out. And they're very close to that now. They've taken, on the north side, they've taken probably 60% of the sheet out. They just got to get that bottom 40%, which is very difficult for them. This is some of the condition of the sheets as they pull them out. It's about, it should be 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick, and it's about an 1/8 inch and less thick, and there's a lot of holes in it. So when they try to pull it, it pulls apart.
Didn't we have problems with this years ago? Or you don't remember that? Nothing this bad?
Never this bad. Actually, of all the ports I've ever worked in, I've never had it this bad.
Really?
So,
Wow.
so it's been very good. In many ways, yeah. But the site work that you saw in the earlier picture where the sand was, that's proceeding. They put in the new storm drainage. They put in the new electrical service. They relocated light poles and other obstacles. And so that work is moving along pretty much on schedule. They did run into some to an oil pipeline that was underneath the old building that was torn out, which delayed construction for a few days on that part of the work. But that got resolved. So for right now, they're continuing. They should have the sheet pile pulled out in the next week or so. We're coordinating easements to some of the property line issues we had with FPNL. That should be resolved here within a few weeks. And we're coordinating with Florida Sugar and Molasses Exchange because, as Manny mentioned, they've replaced the steel on the building, but they also want to replace the siding on the conveyor that you see in the picture. And so that's creating some conflicts between the contractor and Florida Sugar, so we're having a meeting this week to resolve that and sort of stagger the work so we can work around it. As I said before, there's still a number of open issues. Some are going to cost money and some are going to save money. We're working real hard to keep that to a net zero as we move forward. Any questions?
Do you have anything for engineer? All right, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, just an information that you recall, our newest engineer, or that is the engineering candidate, has accepted the position and will start on February the 17th. So just a couple of weeks away.
All right. Wonderful. Government affairs.
He's clapping.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Richard Pinsky, and the government affairs report that you have before us. There's only one update really since we did this, I think, Monday, and that is the Senate bill drafting staff called and asked if we would consider taking out the old language that started in 1976 that had the staggering terms. As you recall, that was one of the items that I had raised. What do we want to do with it? We decided just leave it alone. They strongly suggested that we remove that old language in references to 1976. They said they were going to provide new suggested language that will show the staggering terms without any old references to 1976. I said, okay, we'll send it to us. So there may be that one change, which I will of course immediately send to the executive director for distribution, and but we're going to need quick quickly an understanding by the Port Commission and some sort of agreement that, okay, this is acceptable. I don't anticipate, this being, from a public policy standpoint, impacting what we're doing one way or the other. The advertising of the local bill, we have a 30-day requirement before the bill can be introduced. That started on December 20th, and Peggy, I believe, has the original newspaper copy, which we're gonna have to submit, and so was it December 20th, Peggy? Was that when it started? Or January, no, when?
January 9th.
January 9th, I'm sorry, that's right. January 9th is when we started, so on February 9th, Representative Bill Hager, who Director Almira mentioned earlier, is gonna be attending next Thursday night with his spouse, that he will then be able to, on February 9th, be able to push the button once we get all the little details worked out with bill drafting. And then soon after February 9th, hopefully by the 15th, we should have a bill number. And then from that, and I know the Port Commission had asked direction before, given direction about making sure we had all the communities surrounding us, letters of support. They've already voiced their support, but what it is appropriate protocol is once we have a bill number and the actual bill printed, then we intend at that moment to then go back prior to the start of session and ask our surrounding communities and anybody else, tenants, everybody else that's supported in the past, to then provide letters of support once we have an actual bill number and a bill. The schedule on, and any questions about the bill before I move on?
We presented this to the local delegation approximately 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was received extremely well by the local delegation. I think it was Representative Hager who strongly suggested that we accept an amendment to increase the salary. He spoke very strongly, very aggressively about how it is unfair that it's not raised. I thanked him on behalf of the board. I indicated that we decided not to take it up this year, that we simply wanted a clean bill. Even with that, he still wanted to make an amendment. So we have a lot of support from the local delegation. They know the work we do. They know that the salary has not been increased in, I don't know, 15 or 20 or more years. So just going forward, we should keep it in mind for next year or the years after. But it went very well.
Yes, and Mr. Chairman, as much as I dislike correcting Commissioner Richards,
Who was
it was Senator Rader.
Raider.
Because,
Thank
as you know, Representative Hager would probably not want to do that. But Senator Hager was ready to actually introduce a separate local bill, all on its own, just on the salaries. And Commissioner Richards did a great job of demurring and saying thanks, but no thanks. There was one no vote. That was really a misunderstanding. I did get with Representative Roth after the meeting and explained to him exactly what was happening, and he asked me why we didn't say anything at the meeting, and I said because everybody was supporting it and we didn't want to create anything, and no one asked Commissioner Richards to comment, so everything was okay. But anyway, so he is now supporting the bill as drafted.
Good. Any questions? All right.
Okay, so I got one more item, and that is, you'll see me next week, but then the next Port Commission meeting, I will be in Tallahassee, and probably the next 3 monthly meetings, I will be in Tallahassee. We try to send a weekly report every Friday, or sometimes gets hectic by Saturday morning, just basically what's updating. We will be following any port funding issues for FSTED. There is a tremendous budget crunch. I don't anticipate the $25 million level that the Ports Council got last year of them cutting it back. They could. There's only a $7 million surplus out of an $82 billion budget. There's only a $7 million surplus, and that's even before they get to Medicaid. So we don't anticipate anything, but watching that, of course, the local bill and any other issues, on Port Rail, etc. And so we will be communicating directly by, not directly verbally, but by report for the next few months. In there's some helpful information. We now have the delegations complete, congressional delegations, we now know who all the aides are, and I also put in there some of the President-elect Trump issues and appointees that may be of interest to the board.
Okay.
Any questions?
Good job.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you. All right, next, will be G1, right? Professional surveyor.
That is correct.
Doing that, Carl?
Yep, yes.
Commissioners, Carl Baker, Director of Planning. At the previous meeting, you authorized a short list for land survey presentations. We'll have 4 presentations today. We have the first company is ready to go, and the other 3 are down the hall because at the joint request out of professional courtesy to each other, they wanted it to do it that way.
All right, good. Peggy, you can keep it like an 8 minute, 2 minutes for questions.
And after it's over, we'll score, and if there are no further questions, we shall begin.
All right, very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike's behind him.
You can pick it up if you want.
Okay, thank you. I'm Robin Petzold with the Wantman Group. I have my team here today. We're pleased to be able to present in front of you today. I have with me the project manager, Patrick Meads. I have Tony Brown from Brown and Phillips, and Tom Whidden from Whidden Surveying and Mapping. Without further ado, I'd like to get directly into it since we have a very short time to present. Okay, the relationship with WGI and the Port of Palm Beach has gone on for the past 6 years. We are the largest and most qualified staff. We're 15 minutes with our corporate office from the port. The team that we have put together, 53 successful Port of Palm Beach surveying and mapping assignments in the last 6 years. We have never delivered late. And the multidiscipline side of our firm is that we have all of the technologies and can do all of the things that would need to be done under this contract. Our sub-consultant partners have provided a very large percentage of the work that we've done. As a matter of fact, the port requires 12%. We've done over 50% with our by providing those services through our sub-consultants. So we believe in value service. This team has been together spanning over 20 years. All right, so many firms will tell you that, of course, they add the SBE and the MBE requirements, but these guys, and I'll go into that in a little further detail as we move on. We have the ability to meet critical deadlines, and we've proven that, and I'll show you in the next slide. The most recent was the October 7th, right after Hurricane Matthew had gone through, and we got a call at 2:30 in the afternoon and said, we have an emergency survey. We want you to do slips 1, 2, and 3, the north and south turning basins, and the inlet itself. By 4:30, I had written a proposal to go ahead and do this, and by 4:45, we had an authorization to proceed. 7 o'clock the next morning, we had Tom Whidden right here in the water with a boat. We demobed at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and we delivered the product by 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon. I think that the slide says it all, with written by Ken Hearn, that says, awesome job, done quickly, really appreciate Wantman Group's timely performance. That's the kind of service that we can do for you. We delivered that in 72 hours. I understand that the port does $7 billion in commodities in the course of a year. I did the math, that equates to $19 million a day. I did not want to shut the port down at all. Our org chart, I'll spend brief time on it. We have the team in place, and I'm going to go into how the sub-consultants fit in with our organization. But we do it all. We do LiDAR, we do conventional, even the latest now, hydrographic, we do subsurface utilities, and we also do UAV technology right now, and I'll elaborate on that a little bit as we move forward. The WGI team consists of ourselves, Brown & Phillips, and Whidden Surveying and Mapping. Brown & Phillips went into business in 1993. We have been teaming together since 1994. That's over 22 years of teaming, not just on projects like this, South Florida Water Management, contracts, construction projects, all kinds of things that we've done with these firms. Today, they're still on our team, and some of the examples I'll show you later will show that as a team, we've done other projects for other consultants. Widden Surveying and Mapping went into business in 2004. Actually, our relationship goes back before that when Tom worked at South Florida Water Management. He's currently on our core contract with us. So how does Wantman Group fit into all of this? We provide the staff, the knowledge, the leadership, the technology. We have prided ourselves in developing that technology. We do it all, including the airborne things today. And we have a comprehensive understanding of what the port's requirements are, and we know what you do. We know your business, and we love to do it. I am currently on the State Mapping, Surveying and Mapping Board. I'm currently the chair. I help write the rules. I know what we have to do in Florida to meet those guidelines, and that's what we bring to the fort. We do it right. As we continue to grow, I'm be the client service manager here. I assure you that the commitment will not change, and the commitment to working with all of our sub-consultants will also not change. We do a variety of different things, as I will just elaborate on it very quickly: conventional global positioning, high definition laser scanning, utilities, bathymetric, and in the last 2 years, unmanned aerial systems. A lot of firms are dabbling in aerial systems today. We did it right. I have licensed photogrammetrists, certified photogrammetrists on board. We are into the true mapping. Okay, so a typical project right now with Tom Lundeen moving on, Dave Mock as interim director. So I just wanted to go through that we understand the development of that. You would request a proposal from us. We would give you back some answers. We would meet. We would discuss it. We understand that once you give us authorization to proceed, that we would check shipping schedules to make sure that we're not interfering with ongoing port activity. Our staff already have TWIC cards, the Transportation Worker Identification Credentials. We have parking decals, so it's a smooth process to go right on through, no matter what we're doing, onshore, offshore. We submit, you make your comments, and we check in and out every day with the port security. We address any comments and deliver the product. Okay, port safety and security. You mentioned it earlier, as you were discussing earlier, how you have moved up a level, and I understand how important that is. We took that seriously 15 years ago, and we've been doing background checks. We've been doing drug screening, drug testing, and we do random testing. So that gets done on a monthly basis. We have Transportation Worker Identification Credentials. We do railroad worker safety training. I'm a CSX trainer for safety. We also work FEC. We're doing work right now for Sunrail, so that includes E-Rail Safe badges. We have an OSHA safety specialist on board. I think most importantly on this slide is the Army Corps of Engineers approved comprehensive safety plan. I know that it's the most comprehensive plan I ever had to write, and I wrote it. So it took 3 iterations to get it finally approved, but it is thorough, and that's what we apply to your projects. All right, quality control. I'll be short on this. No less than 4 people will look at a drawing before it goes out the door. The tech who worked on it, the manager who's approving it, the back checker, and the compliance to make sure that what you're getting in your deliverable meets every one of your needs. These are some examples that we did, and I'll go through them pretty quickly. Pump Station S65D included this team, included LiDAR, upland, and hydrographic work. Miami Beach Renourishment, that's a project we're working on right now for the Corps. That also includes members of this team. Herbert Hoover Dike, replacement of structures S10 and S12. So that required hydro and upland and construction layout and as-builts. Pahokee Eco Island project, probably most of you are familiar with that, but the highlight of that was 32 miles of profiling channel 2 and also doing sub-bottom profiles and magnetometer readings. All right, the Motiva project is the ethanol rail car offloading facility. We have experience in rail, and that was for Port Everglades, so just another example. So if I continue on, and why would you choose Wantman Group, and why would you choose this WGI team? We do land, sea, and air. We do it all. Okay, we leverage the latest technology, we build a reputation for doing that. And we move quickly in a safe manner. I believe in putting a champion in each arena because there are so many technologies today. Like I said, a lot of you will tell you that they've brought on a minority or they brought on an SBE. We've worked with these guys for 22 years with Brown and Phillips, for 12 years with Widden Surveying. We don't mess around. We've done over 50 assignments, we've never delivered late. All right, there's no other team closer to the port than us. We have at least 19 crews, you know, that we can put to this, 4 subsurface utility crews. The joint credentials are in place, approved safety plan. We've got it all, and we love working for you, and we'd like to continue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions, Mr. Richard?
Thank you for the presentation. I see that D&B or Brown and Phillips has over 50% of the work.
We did 50.16%.
And who is that entity or that's part of your team, but who is that?
Who is that part of that team?
Yes.
That's Tony Brown, right here. Okay, that's Tony and John. And yes, they've done over 50% of that work.
Any idea what your contracts have been here at the port over the last few years, roughly?
Last 6 years, about 180,000, about 90,000 of that was through our sub-consultants.
Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions?
I'm on a learning curve here, so forgive me, but, you guys are headquartered in Palm Beach County?
Right here, we're right off of Okeechobee and Vista Center. That's a corporate headquarters. And like I said, we have 16 of our own crews, 3 more coming from Tony. Also, Tom also does shore work, and so we've teamed with him on other projects. We've teamed with all these guys for years. What you do is you get a good team together, you keep it together. So there's nobody else that I go to when it comes to hitting that kind of credential.
And you've been with us since 2010, I think you said?
2010, that is correct.
Are these yearly contracts?
Well, it got extended. I can't remember now whether it
2 years.
was.
2 years or something?
Yeah, then it was extended.
Any other questions? Okay. Oh, yeah, one.
Just one. Your partners, are they also headquartered in Palm Beach County?
Yes, everyone here. Belvedere Road, Old Okeechobee, Okeechobee Road.
Thank you.
Okeechobee Road.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Very good. Good report. Who's next?
They're coming down the hall.
Mandy, who did the scoring? Who was there? Carl?
In other words, who was the committee?
Was there a committee or was it one person?
Chairman Richards, it was myself, it was Mr. Zelensky, Ms. Kethler.
Oh, okay. All right, you have 8 minutes, a couple minutes for questions, so start when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon and thank you. In a short time, I want to give you an idea on why we think we're the best choice to help you succeed. You have a tough decision in front of you guys. Your staff has placed before you what they consider to be the best, and they've done a pretty good job of that. So it's going to be tough. My name's Brian Merritt, and I have Jim Sullivan here with me today, and we lead the Erdman Anthony team. So what makes us different? I don't know, maybe we're a little smarter, maybe we have some unique clients or some unique experiences to impress you. My goal here is to make your decision hard. Experience, technology, understanding is what we bring to you. We know these are some really important ingredients for your success, for the team's success. So we're going to start with experience, and we're going to start with you. Our team has completed many, many projects for the port. Everything from dredging, hydrographic surveys to lease boundary surveys, and everything in between. We've also had the opportunity to work at some of the largest ports as well. Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. We've worked at Port Newark, Red Hook, Elizabeth, Brooklyn. There we've done everything as well, from subsurface utility mapping to photogrammetric mapping. And our team brings with it experience at over 20 different ports up and down the East Coast. We also work locally. Many of our clients are municipalities like these, and who we've held contracts for many years. Municipal projects sometimes require very responsive actions that can cover any facet of surveying, and we've been able to treat these clients well for many years. Everybody has unique problems that require unique solutions. You'll probably have them too. We're going to work with you to help you solve your problems. Could be unique to you, maybe even unique to us. We've been asked to solve some pretty unique problems. Like this one, where we did 3D GIS modeling with Homeland Security at this facility to determine the line of sight characteristics. We got lucky to work with Radio City Music Hall and work with the Rockettes to make their Christmas Spectacular in 3D. Here we got to work in the Niagara River Gorge at the base of the American Falls, working on the docks of the Maid of the Mist. We've seen a lot, we've learned a lot, and we think we can bring a lot of that experience and innovation to you. In today's market, resources, people are really tough to find. That's where technology comes in. Back in the 80s, the Marines were facing budget cuts, so had to do more with less. That's how we approach things now. We have to do more with less. So what does that mean? That we now use technology to eliminate those traditional lines between field and office. Our field staff and our office staff are one. They go out and they collect the data, they bring the data in, they process the data, they map the data. Technology used today has evolved past the plumb bob in the chain. Those are still good today. The technology has advanced such that our employees can better serve our clients. And how does that help? It makes us more responsive. It makes us allow you to do more with less. Experience, technology, now understanding. Maybe that's what makes us different. Client understanding. We think we understand our clients, at least we hope we do. Once we have a client, we keep them. A majority of our company's revenue comes from repeat clients. Since we've been around since 1954, that's a lot of clients that we work hard on a daily basis to keep. So we try to make sure we understand the needs, and we put solutions in place to help them accomplish their goals. Commissioners and staff, we got a lot going on here. Very busy port. One of the fastest growing ports. Most of the exports go into the Caribbean. I think our job is to get out of your way. Get in, get out, import-export, and give your port, your staff, what they need to get their jobs done. You're selecting the team today. It's a tough decision. Great teams are unique. Great teams work together to solve problems. Great teams know no one individual can solve it alone. And we think we can be a good addition to your team. Thank you.
Where are you headquartered?
Our local office is Okeechobee in the Turnpike.
Well, you're headquartered in New York, right?
We have, I'll call it split corporate. We have Rochester, New York is half of our corporate, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is the other half. But we have about 20 people in our West Palm Beach office here locally.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. We're done.
about 8 minutes, and we'll have 2 minutes for questions or so, ready to start?
Thank you. My name is Dodie Keith. I'm the owner and principal of Keith and Associates. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to present our qualifications. Our team, as you've seen in the proposal we submitted, includes ourselves, Keith and Associates, providing upland surveying and subsurface utility investigation, along with C-Systems, a team that's been with us and worked with us on many projects for all the bathymetric and hydrographic work. As you know, as you can see, all of the folks we're proposing are senior professionals that have many years of experience. Along with it, I'd like to point out our project manager, Lee Powers, who's here with me today, is our contract and project manager proposed for this, is our manager for all port and marine projects that we do at Keith and Associates. He was the project manager and surveyor of record for the Port Palm Beach Slip Number 3 expansion, where we worked with AECOM, and is very familiar with the port here itself, and has done a lot of work here. In addition, all our survey equipment is owned by the firm, and we keep all our latest technology and software up to date. Saying a little bit about Sea Diversified, Bill Sadler is here with us as well today as our hydrographic end of it. He has 32 years of experience, and he has been the engineer of record in surveying and engineering record for City of Riviera Beach since 2010. So he's very familiar with these waterways and has surveyed much of the channels and things right here around the port. All his equipment, again, is owned by the firm. He has all the latest technologies that can provide a full array of bathymetric or hydrographic surveying that needs this contract's needs. When we talk about a little bit the Palm Beach Slip Number 3 that we did here, it was a project we did with AECOM. We provided the surveying, bathymetric, and we also did some of the aerial work. These aerials you have on the wall, we did all the control for that and provided the aerial mapping for the port as a whole. Did a lot of the control work, and we looked at some of the sediment monitoring around the slip as it was being constructed to make sure the control and things were in play. We're also very familiar with the sovereign submerged land leases and things like that that are needed when we're working around ports. Just to kind of show some of our capabilities, a signature project for us was Port Miami Tunnel. It was a project we were really thrilled to be part of. We were brought in by Bouygues International. We did all the design surveying and SUE work for that in terms of subsurface utility locations, as well as went into construction. And it's a really cool project. We're really proud to be a part of that for that project. Showing the capabilities of our firm, having 11 survey crews, 3 SUE crews. We also been brought in by DOT on a specialty project in Fort Lauderdale when we had the storms come through, and A1A actually fell into the ocean, and we were brought in. The governor actually called down to District 4, and it was one of the highest priority projects for the state at that time. We actually had 4 to 5 crews working 7 days a week to prepare that FDVE coastal survey that needed for permitting, and we actually helped permit that through the state to be able to get that design so that roadway could get constructed and be brought back in order. Along with our general survey capabilities, something we kind of do that's a specialty add-on is our utility atlas. I just want to point out to you, we've done that for a number of places, Fort Lauderdale International Airport, Nova University, and most recently Port Everglades in Broward County. We've gone in and mapped the existing subsurface utilities and brought them in and clarified them with our SUE team to make sure we know where they are, and created actually GIS and AutoCAD maps. We actually can do it like a BIM sim model, they call it, where it's 3D, and we can do it in all the different platforms. So when you go to do work in an area, you know where those utilities are, and it gets rid of all those conflicts. Technologies, we have laser scanning, drones, all the latest technologies and softwares we have available to bring to this contract. Something really important to us is always safety and security. It's something we pay attention to on every project we do. A number of our team already are TWIC badged. We have safety toolbox meetings that we have every 2 weeks with all field personnel. All our field personnel is background checked. We have drug screening, drug-free workplace. We really are aware of what's happening with our staff so that we're coming out as a safe environment, and also being aware of the safety of the public and the other folks out on site. So we spend a lot of time paying attention to safety with our team. Want to point out QA/QC. It's really something that's not, we don't do this at the end of the job. This is something that's built into our work program of everything we do when we approach a project. In the beginning, the execution plan is so important to us, where Lee and myself will sit down and we'll look at not just the scope, but the safety plan, the schedule, and the staffing, and all the resources needed to complete the project. And we look at that standard step of how do we go through the project in every phase, be it the field and the office and the research. It's a procedure that you originate, you check, you back check, you correct, you verify, all the way through the end. So we make sure we don't have any errors or omissions. And at the very end, before anything comes to you, there's a final QA/QC for completeness to make sure everything is accurate, so you're getting documents that you can utilize right away. When I talk about the advantages of our team, one thing we're really proud of is not only are we providing senior staff for you in every aspect, we also have a really tight business model where we run an efficient business to bring our overhead multipliers down. This results in the ability for you to be able to do more projects. All our projects, we come at with that mindset because we look for a long-term partnership with you, not just one project. We talk about our stable workforce. We promoted, surveying's hard these days to get new employees. We've promoted from within. We've brought field staff up through our ranks. So the folks we have with us are long-term employees that have been trained through us as we go through. And just kind of in closing, I want to point out we'd love to be your partner. We'd love to be your consultant of choice. Here's something that we got, a recent quote from the former director of the Airport Expansion Program, who talked about how we consistently look out for their owners' interests. And we stay ahead of the curve. And we're very proactive in what we do, and we're willing to take on some of the most difficult challenges. We actually enjoy projects that have challenges, and we enjoy schedules that are challenging. So with that, we'd love to be an opportunity to work for you and be your surveyor of choice. And we're hoping maybe even you look at hiring 2 consultants, because we think there's lots of opportunity. So thank you so much, and we're here to answer any questions.
I just have one question. You mentioned that you work with AECOM, and exactly what capacity percentage of where you working with them? Can you give me a better idea?
What was our project surveyor for that?
SIP 3.
Yeah, we provided all of the surveying and subsurface utilities. We conducted the design survey for that project.
Where's your headquarters?
Pompano Beach. And we do have a Delray office, but the headquarters is Pompano Beach.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to present to you.
That's it. I had to look at his eyes. I had to look at his eyes out there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Excuse me, sir.
One left. All set, Carl?
Almost. There we go.
All right.
Sorry.
Only 8 minutes or so, and we've got a couple minutes of questions, so you're up.
All right. First of all, good evening. My name is Derek Zeman, and I'm the Client Services Representative and Project Manager with the distinct pleasure of representing the Bowman team. First, I want to thank the commissioners and the port staff for listening through all these presentations this evening. And with a name like Zeman, I'm used to going last, so that's okay. Over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to demonstrate that the Bowman team not only has the capabilities, but also the experience and the proven track record for providing these very same services to the port. Now, 5 years ago, when the survey service contract was last advertised, I stood here before you, well, most of you, and talked about what we could do. Our team was awarded that contract that night, and at that time, I was representing a different team that was here earlier. And I personally managed that contract for the next 4.5 years. I take with me now to the Bowman team, not only the best 2 teammates that you could ask for, but also the knowledge and the experience of those 51 task assignments. And that's not 51 out of 200 or 51 out of 100, but 51 out of 55 total survey assignments under the last contract, or what I had managed. And with that, let me introduce to you the Bowman team. Now on top, we have you, the client. That's the Port Commission. That's your port staff and all the people that you represent. Underneath that, myself is Derek Seaman, and like I mentioned, I'm the client service manager as well as the project manager. And to my right, we have Richard Barnes, who has joined us after 38 years of public service with the South Florida Water Management District. To the left of me on the chart is our full-time safety manager, Tom Workman. He's also an OSHA trainer as well. Because safety is something that we feel that strongly about, that we have somebody full-time, and I know you feel strongly about that as well. Beneath that, we have our GIS specialists, our office project managers, our survey crews, and beneath that, we have our teammates. Tony Brown with Brown and Phillips, and Tom Whidden with Whidden Survey and Mapping. And you may have seen them earlier here this evening, but that's because they're that good. We also have Infomap as well on our team. Now the needs, what the port needs out here, lease boundary surveys. We've done a lot of those over the years. You have 30 tenants, and with each of those parcels that you lease out to them, started off with a survey by us. We come out, we negotiate the lines, we set the corners, we describe the legal descriptions, that all gets recorded, and the agreement's made. We've done as-built surveys, topographic surveys. Bathymetric surveys is another one that's pretty important. We do periodic surveys, bathymetric surveys, to make sure that you have the depth so the ships could get in and out. If that starts to get a little bit too shallow, then you have somebody come out to do the dredge work. We do the survey before that and after that. Compare it, we calculate the quantities to make sure that you're not paying for more material than what is actually dredged out of there. Subsurface utilities engineering might be something that you need. If you have underground utilities, you want to find those before you start excavating, we can help you with that. If you want to take that information and all those lease agreements and put them all together in a geographic information system, that's something else that we can help you with. And we have the drone for aerial mapping and surveying. Not only does that give you good pictures, but it also lets us pick out survey information out of those pictures. It saves time and money. Now your needs. You need a survey consultant that understands the work, can do the work, and also in a timely and efficient manner. You're challenged by a tight space. You have 162 acres out here, and you have to maximize all of that to generate your income. In fact, last year was a record year for y'all profitability-wise, and I believe it was Commissioner Richards who was quoted as saying that was largely due to your long-term contracts. And I think that's definitely a true statement. With your tight schedule, we have to coordinate with the staff on every one of these task assignments to meet with the leaseholders, and even getting into the slips to do our bathymetric surveys. We have to wait until there's no ships in there. That's usually a very small window of opportunity. Proven performance, and you need somebody that's financially cost effective. So why the Bowman team? Well, proven management, working with the port staff, and delivering on 51 of those very successful and quality task assignments. We have a full understanding of the port survey needs, and we utilize the latest in technology to reduce the budget as well as the schedule for you all. Proven track record and no request for change orders. I know it's a bad word around here. I've never asked for one on any of those task assignments, and I don't intend to. Recommended by our other clients. When we turned in our qualifications, we had to list as well our references on other similar contracts. We turned in Department of Transportation, South Florida Water Management District, Martin County, who we currently work for. And what did they have to say when those results came back in, were tallied up? We had the #1 references, and that's something that I'm very proud of. But more importantly, what our other clients had to say, what does the port staff have to say that worked for this? After all of our qualifications that we've turned in, were poured through and reviewed and tallied, Bowman was ranked #1 overall, and that's something I'm even more proud of. So in closing tonight, you've heard from 4 very good companies. They all have good staff, they all have good equipment, they're all fairly close nearby, and they all probably has some level of board experience as well. Some of them even share the same teammates. But I want to leave you with this, that the best indicator of future performance is past performance. And I've demonstrated in the past several months why the Bowman team is the best choice for this contract. And I stand before you tonight as a surveyor of 30 years experience who works and lives in Palm Beach County. And I give you my personal guarantee that I and my team will continue to deliver upon the same quality projects that we've delivered in the past. And we look forward to getting started. Thank you. Right on time. How about that?
You guys are headquartered in Chantilly, Virginia, right?
We are. That's our
And
corporate
but
office.
you physically live down here?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm here in Palm Beach County. 99% of my time.
Okay, Derek, now, on the last jobs that, when you were with the other firm, were you actually here at the port for most of those jobs yourself? And did you actually?
Typically, well, the field crews would do most of the work.
Right.
I would come and meet with Tom one day.
Okay.
And then a lot of times it got to emails, just for efficiency. But time to time, we had to come down and meet. Usually it was emailed exhibits.
Right.
This is what I need, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need changed or moved.
So you're basically the guy on most of the projects, basically?
Right. Every proposal,
Yes.
51 out of 55. Had my name on it, I managed. Correct.
And does the Bowman have a local office somewhere?
Stewart.
Oh, Stewart.
Correct. Yep.
Questions? Okay, thank you, very good
All right.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. You sit down, everybody's coming up.
All right, so for the commissioners, let's make sure everyone's on board on this. So number one is for the most qualified, 2 is for second, 3 is for third. Whoever gets 3 ones will be the selection. Yes, 1 is the best, yes. 2 is second. 1 is hopefully. And then if no one gets 3, we'll vote again. We're looking for 3 ones over there, you have 3 ones, is that right? Or 4, or 5. Start adding things up. No, there's none.
Okay, rankings are as follows for the record.
Mic is not on.
Commissioner Sickland, Bowman first, Erdman third, Keith and Associates fourth, WGI second. For Commissioner Waldron, Bowman second, Erdman fourth, Keith and Associates third, WGI first. For Commissioner Enright, Bowman second, Erdman fourth, Keith and Associates third, WGI first. For Commissioner MacArthur, Bowman 1, Erdman 4, Keith and Associates third, WGI second. And for Commissioner Richards, Bowman 1, Erdman 4, Keith and Associates third, WGI second. The total results, Bowman with 3 first place votes. WGI is the second ranked with 3 second place votes. And Keith and Associates is the third ranked with 4 third place votes. Erdman is ranked 4th with 4 fourth place votes.
Okay, so, Bowman is the number 1, and WGI would be the second team.
Correct.
So we'll make we'll get a motion for Bowman and negotiate with Bowman. If we can work out a contract with Bowman, I guess we'll go to the second. Is that how we stay? All right, we have a motion.
Excuse me, go ahead. You need to rank 3.
Oh, okay. All right, who's the third? Okay. All right, so go ahead.
And I'd like to make a motion, but I'd also like to thank all 4 of the companies. I mean, I don't think we could have gone wrong. All 4 of you are very qualified. And the gentleman who said, I want to make it hard for you, he was pathetic. It was hard. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 5-0. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a very interesting presentation, and all firms were top notch, and any one of you could have done the job. So thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, it was very,
Commissioners for G2, Mr. Chair, I'd like to, with your permission, bring up Mr. Casey Long.
Okay. He's already up.
You'd
Now
have to
you
go,
don't have to bring him up. Go ahead, Casey.
Casey Long with CH2M, Port Consulting Engineers. Just here to give you an update on the 3 projects we've been giving you monthly reports on, starting with the master plan. In this past month, summary, we had our public meeting in November, as well as we had our staff, met with the Palm Beach County staff on December the 1st. But since that point in time, under the direction of the board, we have sent what was given to you in the December board meeting to various cities and municipalities. The Palm Beach County group, I sent it to the planning and zoning group that we are working directly with for the amendment. And Director Almira has sent it to the mayor of the town of Palm Beach, the mayor of the city of West Palm Beach, the mayor of Palm Beach Shores, and 2 Riviera Beach council people, T.D. Davis and Lynn Hubbard. I will follow up with forwarding this on to Jeff Gagnon and the planning and zoning group tomorrow after my meeting with them. We are waiting on these entities to provide feedback. We'll be reaching out shortly to give them a date certain on when we need comments back in order to keep our time frame. However, we want to give them ample time to review. Director Almira will be putting together one-on-one meetings with these entities so we can talk about the master plan update and any other comments directly. Hopefully within these couple of weeks we'll have sealed those meetings and had those meetings. Keep on chucking away here with all these different colors. The colors are moving into green, which means those dates have passed. You're receiving your briefing now for this board meeting. We hope to get the governmental stakeholder meetings taken care of as stated in January and February, and then give you another briefing in February regarding the results and an updated master plan update based upon those meetings, hopefully in February. We're still targeting a March or April adoption.
with the commission. We'll hopefully be able to do it sooner rather than later, but it'll depend on the magnitude of the comments and how much time we need to spend getting everything all in order. That's all I have on the master plan. We're not seeking any approval, just wanted to see if you had any further questions or concerns.
Casey, job well done, that's the good news.
Thank you.
Bad news is, when this comes back, I'm not gonna support it unless the backup is available to the board and the public a week before the meeting like it's supposed to be. The backup wasn't available for commissioners until Wednesday.
Understood.
You know, I mean, I think most of us work, so we can't even look at it till after that.
Sure.
It wasn't, I don't know when it was available to the public, but it wasn't Wednesday night. That's just not acceptable.
Sure. Moving on to the annex property, just for visualization, again, a reminder, the yellow area there, the southernmost property is the annex property. We had our meetings with the City of Riviera Beach as discussed in last month's update, and we also had a series of meetings with the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Subsequent to the last board meeting, we did have a meeting with city staff of City of Riviera Beach and the City of West Palm Beach to go over the details of the terms of use of that property. We looked at the old interlocal agreement that was put together with the FDNL project with Zachary as a contractor, and that was the starting point for all of us to work with. That meeting went very well. We came away with some good agreement on a lot of different things. It has circulated through port staff, and we have returned that document back to the City of West Palm Beach and City of Riviera Beach for their review, and expect to have some comments hopefully by tomorrow, if not very early next week, to move forward with incorporating that into our revised application for submittal to the City of Riviera Beach. We expect, as a result of that, to be put onto the City of Riviera Beach's meetings in February, and I'll go through that schedule shortly. These next pages are the documents as presented to the City of Riviera Beach. A vast majority of the items you see in red were actually us taking language that was already in a previously agreed to interlocal agreement and putting them back into here to make the language a little bit stronger and more in line with what the City of West Palm Beach and Riviera Beach already approved. Some of the smaller language that you see, smaller text in red, are just some refinements to the use. In summary, should this get agreed to by all parties, the port will be allowed to stack up to 25 feet equipment or containers, but no closer than 60 feet to the south property line. There'll be some time restrictions and some noise restrictions following city ordinance, but overall that would allow the port to stack as high as 2 containers high or taller equipment on a chassis, and none of it would exceed 25 feet. In return, the port had to agree to increase the amount of landscaping on the south perimeter to putting in sable palms at 20 feet on center, which is a small amount, but it gives them a nice visual barrier in addition to the wall that was already constructed. Feel it's heading in the right direction. We're hopeful that the cities will both agree and we can move forward. This again is not up for adoption or approval or anything along the lines at this point in time. We're bringing the city, waiting for the City of West Palm Beach and City of Riviera Beach to give their final response and comment. The 20th, which is tomorrow, I have a meeting with the City of Riviera Beach briefly on a conference call just to talk about the next steps and timing. We'll be planning a meeting hopefully for next week with the City of West Palm Beach and the City of Riviera Beach directly to go over anything if even necessary. And then from there, expect February meetings with the City of Riviera Beach Planning and Zoning, as well as the CRA, and then hopefully our February or March, both of the 2 city council meetings can occur. In closing, just as an update, I haven't, if you had any questions. And finally, Earth One, last month you gave us approval to move forward with hiring a coral survey organization, and we're moving forward with that. We're going to try and get divers in the water very soon. We also are working with port staff related to the surveyor to get the sovereign submerged land lease refined to meet the needs for this project to keep that moving forward. But other than that, nothing is moving forward at this
Commissioners. I'm here basically worried about that there's no backup. I heard from Mr. MacArthur when he spoke that the backup was available for you guys Wednesday. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's posted now, but I'll look tonight. I just would like to see, or get a copy of the presentation. That's all I need.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Peggy, is it just that we were overworked or something, or is that, why did we not have a backup? We got late, or changes, or?
Mr. Chairman, but we've been having this problem for years. I mean, I think the executive director needs to send out an email to staff and our vendors, giving them the deadlines when taking meetings, the backup in order to properly disseminate it. And then we need to stick to it. Unless there's an emergency, if the backup's not available timely and not available to the public timely, it shouldn't be on the agenda. We have, you know, the two items today that we needed the backup on, our neighbors are a little paranoid. I don't think justifiably so, but they are. And when the backup on items that they're interested in is not available, it just feeds to that anxiety. We do ourselves a disservice by not providing it in a timely manner, and we can do better. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Address. Thank you. After this disappointment, frustration on both ends, yours and ours, today on or about 10 o'clock in the morning, I did exactly that, Commissioner MacArthur. I did send out an email letting everyone know that if by the Wednesday before the meeting of Thursday, that is the Wednesday of the week before, if that information and the backup is not in-house, or that is with us, it will not be on the meeting. Simple as that. Now, I can only say that this has been a grueling session for the last 2 weeks. There's been a tremendous amount of challenges and disappointment, frustrations with incoming delegations, as I mentioned before, plus the fact that Mr. Casey Long has been traveling. We had several holidays in the middle, but those are not excuses. I think we're on the right track from this point on.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I know that we don't have a huge staff. It's not like the county where they, you know, can delegate everything. But just put something down. You know, a lot of times we'll come in and we'll say, at the meeting you'll get you know, some material. So, you know, it doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be, you know, everything you're going to say, but just a couple key points. And I think, like Peyton said, it's not like we're hiding everything. I think we're just, sometimes we get overworked and we just don't have enough time. So I think in the future, if we could just put, you know, something down, and especially Peyton, if you get your material and you don't see it, give them a call and say, you know, we kind of agreed on this, so, you know, I just try to get it out to us.
Don't think that's going to be necessary, to be honest with you. We'll change. But to that end, let me also mention, sometimes, because of technology, hiccups, and snafus, we may not have it up on the web. However, I will say to all of our friends and everybody in the world, we do have hard copies. We always have 5 hard copies of that book in-house. If in fact it's not on the web, they're free to come up to the 6th floor and ask, and we will give. But I think enough said, this will not happen again.
Okay, good. That's what we want to do. Right, Peyton? Yes, sir. Good. Very good. All right, do we have any new business?
We do not.
We have no new business. All right. Comments from the public. Mary, come on up. Good to see you.
Beautiful hat, Mary.
Always good to see you, board, commissioners also. so kindly, your attorney is so kindly. Mary Graham, Riviera Beach, your attorney is so kindly distributing the important elements of what I'm going to make each and every one aware of. I have no tolerance for terrorists nor destructive leaders. This court is a self-target here. I'm going to tell you what the city of Riviera Beach is asking for a special exception. To put a poisonous chemical gas with 8 tanks that would consist of 40,000 gallons. This is not no ordinary bleach. This is in its purity form here. This is high purity sodium hydrochloric. This was used in World War I and World War II. If you read your history, Hitler used this to make bombs. They also used this on our soldiers. This is what is being anticipated. We're in the planning and zoning stage here now. On the 26th of next Thursday at 6 o'clock, the planning and zoning board will take this up. Now you know Ms. Brown is in this here, because this is a hog. This is a weapon here. Shall we be reminded of Fort Lauderdale, Orlando? This is right in our back door. This is, like I said, no ordinary bleach. There are completely, this company, Artisan Manufacturing out of Tampa, is totally in an industrial area. This neighborhood consists of residential homes, schools. You got the second top-notch school on this card. Suncoast, Lincoln, Head Start, West Riviera. And don't forget our homes, because see, we got beautiful homes over in there too. And you got Stony Brooks there where they anticipate on putting this horrendous disaster in these skyrocket tanks, that they will relieve that tank, that chemical onto carts, and it is heatable and combustible. I'm not here to scare you. It's evidence. 63.8 million people said this is dangerous. Here it is right here. I gave that to your attorney. But the factors there that are listed when you look at your paperwork that I gave you, this is what is happening here. If I had not come in there on December the 15th and brought everybody that I knew in there to halt this travesty would have been done. Because see, it's no such thing as that a certain person would be evacuated, because everybody would have to be evacuated. We already in soft targets here, not just elsewhere. You have to look around. Your port is a soft target for terrorists. Not just that, anything that they can look for now. I don't have no tolerance for it. And I would consider you too not to have that tolerance for it. We as residents and other community leaders, we say no. This never belongs in any residential. I don't care if it is a complex where it's light industrial. You don't put this type of stuff inside. It's fumes, it's gas, it's combustible. The heat, we live in a heated climate. Your lobbyist Penske has this information too. He was stunned. He was stunned. So I decided here today to address this with your board to let you all know that we say no. We are looking out for the entirety of our community. You have your imports and exports coming down this main corridor with everything in that. So we're asking the port and they'll turn it into you all. You all take a stand here. You at risk just like we are. This never belongs in any city. If you ever travel the countryside, you see all them huge tanks that's lining up there. This is what this is. So we say no. We say no. And we will forever be saying no. So I thank you for your time, as always. I don't come here to preach, but I always come to be constructive and conducive for the well-being of all of us to continue to work together. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, thanks for keeping us informed, very interesting. Yes?
Could we have staff respond to Ms. Brown's concerns?
Well, I think it's something that's, yeah, I think staff can look into it, but, this is not really an important, matter, I mean, but we'll certainly take it under advisement, but unofficially, there's not, I don't think it's.
No, I understand it's up to them, but it's on our report.
There's none of them.
That's not on the board.
It's not?
No.
It's near our port, right?
It's down the street?
Yeah.
I apologize. Ms. Graham was saying it's on the.
Yeah, all right, but we'll, keep us informed. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no other cards. Comments from the commissioners? Anything?
None.
I would just like to thank Carl Baker. He's been taking out small groups of community leaders and elected officials, giving them a great tour of the port. It's been very well received so far. He's doing it once a month, and it's getting ready for review, so thank you very much.
All right, our next meeting, February the 16th at 4 o'clock. Nothing else, we're adjourned.